Hello, Sag. Thank you for waiting. It's very nice of you. Sometimes when the readings stretch like that or there's a pause, I think some area of the wave is trying to catch up. You know. All right. This whole time I was thinking of Aquarius, but it's Sag. We start with Sag. Sagittarius. I am headed to Del Rio with Heather, so I may not be present the next few days because that's a big job. But I'll be back. Sagittarius, please, for July 16th. Mid-month. Mercury retrograde season. Show me Sagittarius, please. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus for Sagittarius. Ooh, look at that. I have the Queen of Cups. Let's go ahead and get the screens right so you can see what I'm doing. Double check my work. Just double check my work. See? Aquarius on the mind up there. Taurus. Capricorn. Three of Pentacles. And let me get my mouse out of the way. And a Libra. King of Pentacles. Two of Wands. Four of Wands in the reverse on the underside of the deck. So, I think I packed up all of my pencils. Ooh, wait a second. Ha! That's my Cintiq pen. Okay. Let me lower that. It's still a little loud. All right. We're in a preparatory phase coming into the reading, planning, listing, checking through things, adding, building, compiling, but not necessarily on the move with the Earth Pentacle situation over here. Sagittarius, I'm also kind of gathering this shield on the back of this guy's vest, or, you know, on his back, like a backpack. That shield right there, it's giving off the impression to me of spoils of war taken. You know, like I've been a victor in some way before. And I've gathered my spoils of war, but quite possibly we're still in the middle of a fight because I'm still gathering or I'm still piecing things together. When it comes to this pentacle situation, I kind of get, Sagittarius, that to me it feels like you know how when, way back when, like, you know, way back when armies traveled, they'd march there by foot, but yes, they would also haul their cannons, and they'd have their horses and stuff. So there was plenty of dreaming kind of going out to the war front, plenty of gathering for the dream, you know, having certain successes behind your belt, but not yet able to play. And there gives this impression of having looked at the future and looking at future forward, I have a feeling there's a type of proposal that's coming, Sag. Maybe this is something that you manifested or you've been waiting to take action on in some way, because it's wanting to cooperate more towards that kind of future instead of taking detours. I don't know if they're detours. This pen is not going to work. It's just not. You know what? Let me pause, and I'm going to find me a fancy stick. All right, I found my handy dandy. And I was like staring at it for a second. Such a beautiful thing, isn't it? There's a tough conversation here with someone about how things need to work. You know, there's something that is not working. Like they're looking at, it's a value system as well. It may have to do with, yes, money and finances. But it's sort of like there's a resource here that you enjoy having, or a resource here that needs to be built up. We have to go from the knight to the king. And to get there, to fulfill this dream, we have to do the right thing, maybe even a legal process of some kind. We may have to take mentorship. We may have to elevate ourselves in some way, raise the standard, or even ask someone to sign a piece of paper that they don't want to sign. And we have to get through this guy right here, this devil in the reverse. It's getting over something that maybe hasn't had, maybe it's a person. Could also be an addiction. It's in the challenge position, and you know, to me it's like a person, maybe even a person with something. For some of you, this has to do with a father and a fathering energy. You know, catching thoughts and dreams of a father. It can also talk about one's station in life and where they ended up, but also a leadership position that someone enjoys having. But they can't have both. You notice that? And somewhere in this person's heart, they've agreed to the Capricorn because the Three of Pentacles is above it. They've agreed to put themselves in a space of some kind so that the real future of what they want will go forward. And this not being able to have both, because it's kind of weird, right? The King of Pentacles is holding one ace down here. Two are in the reverse. That's Three of Pentacles right there. And then up here is the Three of Pentacles. Is this like some sort of standard or value around money? Because I think this King of Pentacles person, maybe they're far away. Feels kind of like putting the fun times away to correct something and like double down. Show me this Justice in the reverse, please. We're also going to get a message. For some of you, this is, look, the Justice in the upright. Look, Justice in the reverse, Justice in the upright. One person says it's okay, the other person says it's not. One person is in the right and the other person is definitely in the wrong. And it's a complete, maybe it's a twister, you know? I feel also, Sag, that whatever this choice is up here, it's been sitting for a long time. It's been sitting for a long time. Look, the Sun card. There is something here about happiness and knowing what the right choice is, even if it's hard. Because quite possibly this King of Pentacles is in the middle. Someone hearing or looking at a choice that it's like someone makes this independent choice to walk away, or like right now we don't have a choice. One person leaves, one person goes. To quite possibly, it also feels like a sacrificial lamb of some sort. You know, like all of us aren't going to go in there, just one of us. Some of you are sitting in front of a board asking for something to be discharged. This could be a proposal for something to be discharged, a contract that is definitely going to be discharged. There's an action a person is not able to do. They have a wish or they have a need, and they're asking, like this person's chained to many things, and they want to make carrying all of these burdens, they want to make it lighter. How can I make my load lighter? Can you please help me to independently stand on my own whilst making my load lighter? There's a tough conversation here. It's a piece of news that's going to throw you into quite possibly putting yourself at risk for another person, and yet you cooperate with it. And I don't know, this King of Pentacles, in some cases it's a person, but in others it's an asset or something, like the sale of something. Choices that need to be made over choices that were not taken care of. Someone is looking at another person and thinking that they're moving very fast on whatever plans they have, or they were ready to go all the way for something. There's also some physical distress in the house or in the family. I don't know if, this person's having dreams. Okay. There's been a fight and a struggle with a Gemini recently over who's in charge, who's the smarter. One person has found some information on the other, and it could have been one of those things, Sag, where you didn't want information found. You know, like that isn't public. It's not supposed to be out there. It's not supposed to be public. And the argument here with this Gemini, it's like walking through a minefield, Sag, because you don't want to trigger something, you know, because the person is very willing to play devil's advocate with you. There's some internalizing on how to develop a plan, because I think you've faced something like this challenge before, and this time you know how to do it better. So there's some isolation I see kind of coming forward in the next couple of weeks, so that you can piece more of the picture together. There's also seeing a dark side to something or someone, and it makes more sense that someone was angry or hurtful, or why they left, or why they divorced a person. Because this is like a reckoning of like someone, but it's internal, and they can see. I can see that. It's internal. I can see why someone made a particular choice. Because there's an ugliness that comes out right here with the moon card in the reverse. Look at the Queen of Wands in the upright. This person's saying, I'm not going to sit idle. I'm going to stand up and do. Yeah, so you may be dealing with the fire sign. Because it's... I've heard this story before. And I don't know what they're going to do with XYZ. And then the fire sign steps up and says, stop being an a-hole and just do it. You're killing me, Smalls. The 9 of Wands in the upright. If it lightens their load, quit making a fuss about it. You know, if they're hurting or in pain, quit being a little bitch and go over there and apologize and go over there and help and go over there and assist. It's sort of like saying you're teaching someone here, or maybe you have a new mentor of some kind. Maybe it's something that you're reading, but it kind of puts this person in place real quick. But it also tells them exactly what they need to do to correct all of this with the King of Wands and the Emperor in the upright. Some of you may be getting, this is sort of like handing you power in some way. I don't know, it makes more sense. Something makes more sense now. And being much more willing to kind of see things from a different perspective. Over, for me, this would be like, I can cooperate with something, or I can just pretend that it doesn't exist, turn my back to the choice right there and just pretend like it doesn't exist with her back right there, face, you know. I'll just pretend like it doesn't exist. And then I think someone calls them out on it. Or they don't want to talk about the choices that they made. They don't want to go into all of that. This is like stepping on someone's mind. It's pressing down on their mind. And I bet you $1,000,000, Sag, that if someone sat down and asked this person, you know the why game? Oh, so you made a choice, right? Why? My sponsors used to do this with me. It drove me nuts, but I was also like, I know why they're doing it. This person sits down and says, well, why did you stop trying? Well, why did you lay down and give up? Well, why did you say it like this? And down, answering each question as you kind of answer the question. Why? Someone is seeing, finally, why another person was held back, why another person could not press forward. They see what was dropped because someone's hiding. They're not sharing all of the story. Page of Wands in the upright. About judgments that were done in reverse. For some of you, your children are growing and they're, because I'm seeing that, children that are going from like, they're 10, 12, 13, 15, 18, 17. And someone's been hiding a portion of their past they don't like talking about. They turn away and they pretend like I didn't do that. And then there's finding out that they did. This is a new beginning. Someone who's coming in with gentle, loving hugs and kisses to offer to me, this would be like a relationship skill that would help them to stand down and to stop being so combative. I don't know, it's like a relationship skill that has to do with bonding. Someone has set a certain habit into place and it's never getting them anywhere. It's never taking them anywhere. It's never, like they never acquire anything from it. And I think this person is speaking about those things, the actions here that we take. And perhaps choosing, because look, we have the queens, so it's a self-disciplinary thing, like of the mind. Maybe it's a mental discipline. Maybe it's an emotional discipline. But it's talking about how the other person didn't have that skill right there. That person didn't use that skill. They didn't use wisdom. Maybe to respect other people's spaces. Because to me, this feels like a bully. You know, it feels like a bully. And if someone is, like if they've been tapping on the bully's shoulder and saying, hey, that was a bully move, the other person is gaining the wisdom now to kind of check it out and see how harmful it was to themselves and to others. And now there seems to be some sort of conversation that they need to have, maybe with a Capricorn, to undo the damage that they've done, but to also bring some sort of, I don't know, because this is Sag, because it's the Empress, you know, and I have the Emperor over here in the upright. Like they're both looking in different directions. One person has been trying to stay away and they've been trying to explain what needs to be corrected. And then the Emperor is over here just busy working and working and working and, you know, scared. But they're firm and they're fixed and they haven't moved until this Gemini in conversation kind of comes in and says, I know you don't like it like this. I know that you don't, whatever. And whatever this conversation leads them to, it, you know, it's like saying, I always wondered why that was that way. I always wondered why that person quit this job. I always wondered why somebody would divorce such a beautiful person. And now we're finding out this is why. They're both looking at different things. And there's that question about love, about being polite while starting something. You know, it's sort of like asking someone what they want to eat before going to grab something. It's asking if they're comfortable. It's asking if they feel safe. I'm pulling the World card there. It's a lot of major arcana like right there. You know what I mean? Someone making a choice not to be the other person's burden, but to be the other person's strength. And here's someone offering, using their imagination in a way. The Knight of Cups in the upright. Now we have, look at the I know you here. The glare is happening. The glare is definitely happening. Here, I'll turn the light. Well, I can't turn it. Okay, look. Look, Sag. I've got the King and the Knight of Cups and the Queen and the Page of Cups. They're all in line. They're all in sync. 1, 2, 3, 4. They have emotional steadiness. They have emotional wisdom. Wow, that's pretty interesting. I've never seen that before. the wisdom of making something stop. We're going to try to take a habit and we need to, because I can also see how something's not growing the way that it's supposed to. But we also don't want like a growth to get any bigger than this. There's a habit or something that someone's been hanging on to, money or stuff or whatever this is. I'm also catching titles for some reason, like a person who would hold their badge or their name tag or something like that, and this person's wanting to hang on to it. But there's a wisdom about not allowing others to get far with that. We don't want this particular action to happen. Everybody's agreeing that absolutely yes, we do not want that particular action to happen. So the king says to the queen, will you do this? And she's pitching him a cat. Running at him. That's weird. I need to look at that, Sag, real quick. Because the queen literally is throwing the cat at the King of Cups. And then there's a moon shining a light on something that's going to give under. She may be receiving a cat. Somebody might get a cat this weekend. But it's sort of like this. Will you do this? And the queen says, yes, I'll receive this. Yes, I'll take it. That's only right and just. And then the king says, we'll keep an eye on it and we'll see kind of how it goes to see if it works long term. And then the response is, of course, I will try to make sure that I can see if we have something moving out of our space. And if it's doing any, like, is it making something end? Is it giving us what we need? Moving forward, giving direction, especially about a resource. I wonder if some of you will be asking for a loan. Look at the King of Cups came out again. What the heck? The wisdom not to communicate or the wisdom not to make a choice. And right underneath, there it is, the Queen of the Empress again. Here we have the Empress down here and the Empress right here. Someone wants the other person very well. I hope they are well. I hope they're adjusting well. If this is what makes them happy, I hope it makes them well. I don't like this person. I don't like to see this person suffering. It's not what I want. And what's that? The Chariot. A message. Some of you may get this proposal of a job, because there's the Chariot is up here as well. It's about doing something that will bring us a financial opportunity in the future, and you need to be ready for it to take care of yourselves because it's going to be showing up. I see the next 4 months, Sag, is going to be a little tricky, right? You may be trying to push forward certain things, and it's not until the 4th month that it really takes off like a mother. Maybe it only takes a month to kind of set things up, and then for the next 3 months you're on the go, on the go, on the go. Interesting. Someone's ensuring there is no misunderstanding. They don't want a person to feel confused, but hopeful. And to give it a good, college try right there. Love with a Scorpio that kind of moves forward and doing something about it. That's interesting. Notice we got the Queen of Wands twice in the upright. These are kind of really good cards, Sag. They're not bad. Isn't that the best thing, though? And the answer is yes. It is the best thing. Let me do these for the oracle cards real quick, Sag. Give me a few cards for Sag. Being guarded and age issues coming up for someone. Demanding. There's something in the other person's presence that's demanding. And someone's addiction might be the topic on the table. Insecurities are in the reverse. So we're speaking with someone here that we feel secure about, or about whatever this new venture is. A trip, a vacation. It might be something that you've done before, but it could also be a relationship that you've been with for long enough that you guys know how to play team with one another to stop certain things from happening or to make certain things go. This is not too risky. They believe it's worth the risk. Right there. And the lone wolf. Oh, that's funny. Because it sort of shows someone who kind of grew up out of being a youngster in some way. And always kind of telling themselves, over here, oh, I'm always going to be so much fun and always going to have the fun. And now they're seeing the demands of life kind of taking off on them. And as they step into the future, they say something over here where it catches them off guard. Like, oh, that's something my dad would say. It's that commercial, like the State Farm commercial, Not changing them. Someone speaking about another person, about the way things need to move forward. Finding positive encouragement here. And creating an ending to someone's worry in the long run. And being decisive about one's actions here, because there's nothing to lose at this point. There's nothing to lose. Let me lay these for you real quick. Sag. Show me a few cards for Sagittarius, please. Oop, there went one. All right. This one says, watching shit go down, enjoying the gossip. Right there, but it was in the reverse. So someone who has been ambivalent. Ambivalence is being part of a topic here. Getting played in the upright. Manipulation, lies, and controls. Game over is in the upright. Envy in the reverse. Fake friends in the upright. Bad choices are in the reverse. And depression in the upright. Don't want to hear it. That's why, yeah, I mean, needing someone's cooperation but to move something forward the way that it's supposed to move forward. Total drama and action right there. I have kicked to the curb on the underside of the deck. Yeah. This person on the left, they don't want to lose who they are, but they're already moving into commitment type choices. I think it's just going to catch them off guard that this is who they have been like all along. There's also something here about where someone is saying your real friends tell you the truth to your face. That's number one. Your real friends raise you up and they don't push you down. Your real friends don't show jealousy. Your real friends because but it can also be right here. It can also be about like the people around you that influence your choices. Yes. But people wearing masks and someone saying, I'm glad that you're moving forward, you know, and you're able to take care of yourself in some way. A road forward for a person who finally can make a choice, and bringing them a lot of love and a lot of light as they move forward. Yeah, it's quite interesting that this is sort of like two friends talking with one another. So this is an important conversation. It is. It says, I smile on the outside, but I am dying on the inside. It says, I have things going on in my life that require my full attention. I am going through a roller coaster of emotions, but I won't admit it. And I think this is the point where someone sits down with the other person and kind of shares some things that are on their mind. It says, I have lost faith in you and cannot see a future with you anymore. I know that you may not feel for me as I feel for you. I am embarrassed by my actions and feel disgusted with myself. I am distracting myself to avoid thinking of you. I am seeing someone, but I am not ready for you to know about them yet. Yeah. So whatever that topic is in the middle that you've been struggling with, this very well could be the time where you're going to get kind of an enlightenment, you know, to something new, something that's going to open up your mind. I can see that. And maybe you just needed to feel supported in the way that you feel. I'm using the In the Shadows deck. Show me what's going on for Sag. One party says, I want to tell you so much. But yes, it is too late. I fear that you will reject me. I scared myself that day. Sometimes I hear your voice. And the Hidden Truth Oracle. Show me what the other side is saying, please. For Sagittarius. Show me what the other side of this is saying. It says, I know that I crossed the line with you. I bury myself in work to forget you. I left when I saw you with someone. Sometimes I stay awake thinking about you. I regret lying to you. I know I messed up everything. You don't know how hard it was to let you go. I lost myself for a little while. Huh. All right. Well, that's your reading, Sagittarius. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.